Hello, I'm Darren Magee. Today's question asks if I would outline some of the more common dynamics that take place in a relationship between a narcissistic mother and her son. Now, if you like this video, if you find it helpful, please click like and please consider subscribing to my channel. But just as a reminder, this video is not a substitute for support from a mental health professional, nor is it a tool to be used to diagnose someone. Now, some of the common characteristics of narcissism, these include a sense of entitlement, being disagreeable, being resistant or sensitive to criticism. There is a need for admiration, a sense of self-importance, and there is a lack of empathy. And there's different kinds of narcissism, which I've outlined in previous videos, the most common being the grandiose narcissist or the overt, or the vulnerable narcissist, or the covert. But for today, I'm just going to talk about the dynamics between general narcissism, if you will, a narcissistic mother and her son. Now, as I've outlined in previous videos as well, where there is a narcissistic family, the kids are often treated as an extension of the parent. How the kids look, how they behave, their level of success is often seen as a reflection of the parent. And when the kids get praised for any kind of success, it's normally publicly. Behind closed doors, the child may be ignored, ridiculed, and failures are often punished. But when it comes to that relationship between a narcissistic mother and the son, I'm not saying this is true in every single case, but more often than not, the eldest male child is often treated more like a partner. Now, more like a partner than a child. Now, if there is a partner there, a dad there, for example, the mother may ridicule him, may describe him as being lazy, inept, selfish, telling the son that the dad doesn't care. He doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about her. He doesn't care about him. Doesn't care about the brothers and sisters. And she may even overshare things, private, intimate things between her and the dad, things that the kid might not necessarily need to hear. But what happens is the son ends up in this kind of supportive role of the mother. He takes on the role of problem solver. And this is what's known as emotional incest or enmeshment. And I've made videos about that previously if you want to check those out. But what normally happens is as that son grows up, he can be feeling as if he had to grow up too quickly, which more often than not he did. Feeling though as if he were denied a childhood. Secondly, there is what's known as antagonistic parenting. Now, there can be antagonistic parenting. Now, this will involve the mum doing or saying anything at all that is going to bring up a negative feeling or a negative experience for the child. Now, this can include things like unkind humour, sarcasm. There's maybe no respect for the son's privacy. And the son is going to have a lot of expectations placed on him. Now, she will expect him to problem solve, expect him to behave more like an adult, regardless of what age he is. Always expect him to know better and show her disapproval and her disappointment, even her rage, when he inevitably can't. And she may even share things, personal things about the son with others, with his friends, with his girlfriends or whatever as he's grown up. Things that she knows are going to embarrass him. And as a result of this, the son grows up perhaps being very guarded, internalizing a lot of things, maybe being afraid to show or tell others what he's thinking or feeling. Fear of being rejected or fear of that being used at a later date to hurt him. And because the mother lacks insight into the child's emotional needs, she may well isolate him from others. She may disapprove of friends, girlfriends, not really want him to go in any clubs or groups or anything. She may ignore the son completely, having the son wonder what it is he's done wrong, or be completely over-involved in his life, almost like micromanaging him. And this can vary from day to day, from situation to situation, usually depending either on what it means to the mother or how she looks to others or maybe just whatever mood she's in. Now, in his teenage years, that same unkind humour and sarcasm, it doesn't end. Sometimes it ramps up a gear. She will do and say things to humiliate him in front of his friends, even the girlfriends that he might bring home. And she may even encourage them to join in with his devaluation. And the son, maybe desperate for attention, he may act out, he may look for attention, maybe in maladaptive ways, creating drama and things like that. But even when he does get attention, it'll feel very uncomfortable for him, so he finds himself either pushing people away or withdrawing. Another common dynamic could be she will stand up for the son. She will defend him. She will defend him with intensity and vigor if he's maybe accused of something, but only when she is affected personally. Other times, she'll just ignore his discomfort, his distress, and she may even ridicule and tease him about it or punish him for it. But she will not give him what he actually needs. She will not give him care, support. She will not nurture him, help him work through whatever the problems are. Which again, as that boy grows up, he learns to internalize things, hold on to things, find it difficult to ask for help for fear of either being ridiculed or humiliated or rejected. And because only certain things bring about certain reactions from the mother, the son will believe he's never good enough. All these conditions he has to meet, they're unobtainable. He will never meet them. He will never please. He will never be fully accepted for who and what he is. And that boy can sometimes feel as if one small error, one small mistake, no matter what it is, that is going to wipe out, that is going to discredit anything else he's ever done well or succeeded at. There can also be inconsistent discipline because of those, again, those ever-shifting expectations and standards. He ends up, if you will, risk assessing situations. So he tries to mitigate what could be the least worst outcome. And when it comes to the discipline as well, sometimes the mother can be quite manipulative. She will insist the father, demand that the father discipline the son. When the dad disciplines him, then she attacks the dad for being too harsh. Another common dynamic between the narcissistic mother and her son is what Jung referred to as the devouring mother. Now, this might look like the mother constantly reminding the son of how good she is to him, how good she is for him, and what a good boy he is, and so on. Reminding him about how much she sacrificed for him. You know, I only stayed with your dad because of you. The son has to be eternally grateful or feel guilt or a level of distress or whatever. You know, he will hear things like, I put on weight because I gave birth to you. I had to give up my career because I had to raise you. I bought you that bike you wanted for your birthday. Aren't I a wonderful mother? Now, if the son disobeys or misbehaves in any way, that generosity, that sacrifice is often used to shame and guilt trip him. Now, an example of that being played out is, and it's a friend of mine, he doesn't mind me sharing this, was whenever he was younger, he used to like the Power Rangers or whatever it is they're called. And there was one time in the town where he lived, the Power Rangers were supposed to be appearing at a toy shop. Now, okay, granted, it's maybe a couple of blokes dressed up in groovy outfits, but he wanted to meet his heroes. Now, his mother had promised, yes, I'll take you along to meet the Power Rangers. When they got to the shop, when the mother saw the size of the queue and saw the crowd there, she changed her mind and said, no, I'm going to go shopping instead. Now, this guy, he was maybe about 7 or 8 at the time, he got very upset. He started to cry. All he wanted to do was see his heroes. The mother went into a rage, screamed at him and shouted at the dad to take that ungrateful little so-and-so home, which the dad did. Now, what he told me was later that day, he was sitting on his bed, staring into space in a state of shock over what happened. He felt absolutely humiliated and crushed. When the mum came in, handed him a bit of paper with some names on it and said, I queued up and got you their autograph. Aren't I a great mother? Look at how good I am to you. Look at what I did for you. Completely ignoring all the other stuff. And he says to this day, she still reminds him, do you remember how good of it was that I went and queued up to get you your heroes' autographs? Again, completely filtering out everything else. And the one and only time he ever raised that, she went into a meltdown, got really upset and started crying that she was trying to do her best under difficult circumstances. So what we see is often a lot of emotional neglect. Now, there's no secure attachment for the son. There's no secure attachment with a primary caregiver, and that often carries on into adult life with others. And because that son, you know, any son with a narcissistic mother, because they don't really feel safe to share their feelings, they're never taught to articulate how they feel. Everything gets internalized. And because the mother is never going to admit any kind of fault, the son learns in that situation to just accept it. And what can sometimes happen is the son learns to accept that in other relationships as well. When he's being teased, when he's being bullied, If he's feeling angry, if for some sense of injustice he's being treated unfairly, he learns to say nothing. It just gets internalized and it becomes quite corrosive. Another dynamic that takes place is when that son gets a bit older, when he starts maybe bringing home girlfriends, things like that, partners and so on. This can bring up a sense of envy in the mother. Now, he is her property. The son is her property and he is not to be shared. Now, what can happen is she might set up scenarios where the son has to choose between the girlfriend or the wife, whatever it happens to be, and her. Maybe the son's girlfriend or wife, buys him something, buys him a new watch. The mother goes and buys him a more expensive one that he has to prefer, one that's a better one. If they're arranging to go somewhere for a meal, the mother will arrange another venue at another, at the same time, and so that he has to choose which one does he have to go to. Because what we see with narcissism is often what's known as all or nothing thinking. It's like a zero-sum game. If you're my friend, there's no room in your life for other friends. If you like me, you're not allowed to like other people. And this behavior with the son towards the son can be really difficult for him. He can feel unsure, not really learn how to cooperate or negotiate with others. He may even learn himself this all or nothing thinking. You're either a friend or an enemy. There's nothing in between. So what we see in adulthood is someone who lacks assertiveness. Now, they can become maybe passive aggressive, but certainly not assertive. We may see constantly people-pleasing behaviours, fearing rejection and being abandoned and so on, fearing the rage of others. However, this is not true in every single case because sometimes there is enough input from the other parent or other healthy nurturing relationships where the son can, especially as he gets older, even if it's difficult, he can come to terms with the mother's disordered and unhealthy behaviour. And as he forms healthy, loving relationships with others, he can accept that he actually is worthy of love and being respected. He doesn't necessarily have to earn it, not the way he was taught to. He can become more assertive. He can learn how to set boundaries, not just with his mother, but with others as well. So that is a brief outline of some of the common dynamics that take place in a relationship between a narcissistic mother and her son. Now, there's many things I'm sure I haven't mentioned, so please feel free to use the comment box below if there's anything you'd like to share. I do like some of the interesting conversations that have been starting around these videos. If you like this video, if you find it helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel for future updates on mental health related topics. And until next time, thanks for watching.